take a look at these excited, cheerful boys and girls. This is a photo of our beloved Roblox staff and video star creators. You might recognize a couple of them, namely this guy, David Baszucki, aka Builderman, Roblox's founder and CEO. Now, David loves Roblox. Of course he does. He's been around since it looked like this. Look at it! Like complete trash. And honestly, that's probably what he heard a couple times. But David believed in the potential of Roblox, that one day, this could become something incredible. So he worked and worked to perfect his creation as much as possible, until one day, he could turn around and say to himself, look how far we've come. David? That doesn't sound good. What is that?
Exploiters!
By the way, just wanted to let you know if you're new here, subscribe. It helps a lot in making new videos, and it's free. Now, when it comes to exploiting, or otherwise known as hacking, on Roblox, we need to understand how they work a little. There are two main types of exploits used by users: client-side exploits and server-side. Server-side exploits. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there on how the two exactly work, like executable programs or injecting DLL files, but to simplify it a lot, client-side exploits affect the user themselves, like super speed or teleportation, while server-side exploits affect other players and items, such as spawning a bunch of items or bosses. And in the worst case, taking control of the server itself and kicking other players. Oh, and there's also B-tools, which lets you mess around a bit with models. Now, early on in Roblox's history, server-side exploits were much more common to see. And with a quick Google search, you can find that games like Work at a Pizza Place or Natural Disaster Survivor were a pretty popular place for people to use their newfound powers to play loud music, advertise, or make everything look like a very friendly Mario. Yahoo! So, not really that different from server-side exploits today. Some things never change. However, one of the earliest, most notable cases of exploiting or hacking, well, besides this crappy looking cheat engine video from 2009, didn't use server or client-side exploits, but took control of the website itself instead, such as the April 2012 incident, where on April Fool's 2012, a few users didn't really hack the website, but managed to get access to a site testing admin panel, and with it, they did some horrible things, like sending out global site messages such as, go out and buy some peanut butter, yo, or playing Roblox is always better than going outside. Well, pretty nice of them to not put obscene, horrible things on the messages, although after those seemingly harmless messages, they proceeded to blow up the market by setting a bunch of high-priced items to 1 Robux. Now, the hackers involved in this case have since been terminated. And speaking of hackers, we all know the infamous John and Jane Doe, along with others such as 1x1x1x1, which we will not be talking about them in this video since they're not actually hackers. John and Jane Doe confirmed to be official Roblox test accounts, while a former Roblox administrator confirmed 1x1x1x1 was a story made up by former creative director Shedletsky. And looking back at it, I'm not sure how anyone in the Roblox community fell for John and Jane Doe. Did people really think Mr. David Baszucki would just sit and chill in his beachside mansion while the server simultaneously combusts? That Roblox would not have made a single statement or preventative measure? I mean, really? Well, now that we know a bit more about exploits like client-side exploits and server-side exploits, let's go into how Roblox and developers try to fight back against exploiters. Or the war between Roblox and exploiters. So early on, one of the earliest preventative measures Roblox added for hacking was the report abuse bug.
Reason number 3 must be some killer stuff right now. Some really incriminating things I must have done. Reason number 3, harassment? Offensive item? Yes.
Let's just say Roblox's report system doesn't have the greatest reputation to this day. Of course, developers made ways to detect exploiters themselves, such as tracking player speed, but this didn't do great, and it would be a lot nicer for players if exploiters simply couldn't do their thing in the first place. Roblox tried to do this with things such as replication filtering, which worked against server-side exploits, but didn't do much against client-side exploits, which became all too common. Roblox obviously doesn't like that, so they brought their biggest hammer yet in their fight against exploiters. Now, if you aren't familiar with Bifron, also known as Hyperion, well, good for you. Probably not really into cheating in video games. Hyperion, or Bifron, is an anti-cheat, which would scan and detect malicious software interacting with the Roblox client. But not just malicious software, it investigated everything, even things like Windows processing. And if it detected any bad software interacting with the client, it would crash it. So, the idea doesn't seem too bad. But would this really work in reducing the amount of exploiters? I mean, Roblox could only hope and pray. They paid a lot for this system. If it didn't work, well, it would be a massive blow. And so, the button to activate Bifron is pressed. Roblox won. Bifron was a massive success. Now, while this was nice in reducing the amount of exploiters, it's important to note it's actually impossible for exploits to be completely eradicated from Roblox. Reason being,
Because if a computer has Windows, yes, Windows was made by Microsoft, but Bill Gates himself does not actually have full control of the computer. He can modify stuff on it freely, and even some of the restrictions on Windows can be bypassed with proper knowledge. And the same applies for Roblox. If a player really wanted to, they could modify the client itself to exploit.
but Bifron had managed to bring the amount of exploiters from every other server to a much smaller amount without a doubt. Since to bypass Bifron, you need the required knowledge to create an exploit and figure out how to make it bypass Bifron. These days, most exploits aren't free and are created by people knowledgeable enough to bypass Bifron, and then sold at high prices in black markets. In the end, there's no doubt that in today's Roblox, or modern Roblox, Bifron has at the very least decreased the amount of exploiters a lot from what it used to be. But as for future Roblox, we'll have to see if Bifron can keep up, since while the war between Roblox and exploiters has given Roblox a small edge for now, in reality, the war never ends.